Hey, what up? It's your boy Nick. Now, I've certainly talked about many a garbage person on my channel, but I think today this person is really proud of the things that they say, so I thought I'd give them a boost and show the world what they want to put in the air. So the person we're going to be talking about today is Diezel Raccoon. Now, this person is a lot of things. This person is transphobic, a furry raider, into cub, an anti-masker, carries guns because he's afraid of black people, denounced dog bombs' last wishes, and openly tried to wear soggy diapers at MFF. So yeah, fun times, great guy. His Twitter is currently private, and there is not a person he has not blocked at this point. In fact, if you've been blocked by Diezel Raccoon, smash that like button and join the party. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, first thing you're going to learn about Diezel is he's extremely vocal and a political person, and he created a side account called Patriot Furry. Now, not to sound unpatriotic, but it recently feels like certain people use that flag to assert a whole different vibe. Like, a lot of self-described patriots aren't exactly the most agreeable people, if you catch my drift. But that could totally be a misrepresentation, maybe this person isn't so bad. Until you listen to literally every single tweet they've ever made ever. Firstly, he's really against the Equality Act, the idea of allowing boys in girls' restrooms, as he puts it, and the fear that trans women want to compete in women's athletics, despite the fact that many people like Diezel still consider them men. Now, I'm not going to get into how all these ideas are just Fox News misrepresentations of the trans community goals of literally just not being denied healthcare for being trans. But ultimately, Diezel himself expressed that he's adamantly against abortion, considers transitioning a form of pointless mutilation, and was really vocal about it on the Furry Patriot page that Twitter deleted for harassment. Because he also goes on to be exceedingly racist, with multiple tweets going on to express the exact reason he feels the need to carry a gun is specifically to protect himself against black people, in a super non-threatening, non-terrifying way. Basically calling them thugs of the night and claiming most black people are disproportionately lazy to white people as well. On top of that, he gave adamant support when a man shot and killed someone and wounded 2 others after one of them threw something that hit him in the head. So yeah, needless to say, he's not exactly the kind of person I would trust in a minor confrontation. But he's expressed heavy disagreement with the Derek Chauvin trial, claiming George Floyd was a drug addict and basically claiming he deserved to die with no sympathy for him. Now, there are certainly nuances to the case, but my simple thought is, regardless of pre-existing conditions or who you were before that moment, it did not matter and was not known. There are other non-lethal ways of detaining someone who presents no lethal threat to yourself or others that weren't used, point blank period. But from Diezel's point of view, there's actually no such thing as institutional racism, and claims that racism isn't a thing because we had Obama for 8 years and that white people are actually the ones that are being oppressed. He is an avid Trump supporter and refused to acknowledge the January 6th terrorist attack at the Senate. But while scripting this video, he actually went on to apologize for his racist tweets about black people, and congratulations, it's absolutely worthless. Because he went on to say, in a staggering, unprovable statistic, that over 90% of all black people are killed by other black people, and that slavery never mattered if black people did it first. It's like saying, no, officer, you can't be upset that I have drugs, you should be upset with my dealer for letting me have them. It's like, what kind of backwards ass logic? Who even brings up slavery in a modern debate about structural racism? Like, literally, you could have just looked into everything America has done after that. No one wants people to feel guilty over slavery. That's not the point of this. The black on black crime idea is literally just an even more racist way of saying, it's okay if I'm racist against black people because black people are racist against black people too. We have a common enemy. But ignoring all that, let's take a sharp ass left turn. Now listen, I am not one to kink shame. People do what they do and that's fine. But there is no way in hell I could just waltz through this fucking video and not show the fact that there is an account called Big Bad Diaper Dad whose only purpose is to post pictures of Diezel in diapers and a binky. Now I'm showing this because it's not technically nudity, but I didn't see it coming. I reiterate, I don't care about kinks. I just thought it was so funny and random how a dude who basically gets off at delegitimizing huge groups of people also gets off to infantilizing himself. The irony is actually frothy. And the thing is, I want to say, if this person wasn't such a scumbag, I genuinely don't think anyone in the fandom would actually care. He's one self-righteous dude to be turned on by super wedgies. And his fur affinity is absolutely just riddled with gay sex, diapers, feet stuff, and just a lot of cub porn and just so much pee. Just please take my word for it. It's a dark fucking place. Now, not all the baby fur community is like this. Odin actually has a pretty comprehensive video on it, which is actually pretty informative, because before anyone makes any rash accusations, do I think there is a direct link between abusing children and cub porn? No, that's silly. I have no way of confirming that kind of thing, and you can say what you want about the guy, but do not make that kind of accusation without legitimate proof. Am I allowed to feel incredibly uncomfortable that he sexualizes his infantilized character, often as an actual child in clearly non-consensual situations? Yes, 100%, I think that's valid. Am I also allowed to be uncomfortable with the fact that he asked to wear as many people's soiled diapers as he could at MFF? Yeah, I'm allowed to be a little bit uncomfortable by that too, I think. Because for those who don't know, spreading STDs at cons is actually a pretty big underlying issue that's not really talked about from what I'm aware. And honestly, I can't help but feel this is in some way related. Look, I can't super say I'd feel comfortable going to the same conventions with him. And considering his views on black people, I'm sure he feels the same. Funny enough, Diezel is also a member of the Furry Raiders. Now, this group likes to preach that they are not for white supremacy, and that is just a coincidence that their members consistently post Nazi-inspired art of their Nazi-inspired leader, Foxler, who has openly stated things like he doesn't like black people and would rally for the KKK, which apparently was just a ruse because he wanted to join a neo-Nazi group just to see what they're all about.
And I decided to actually get involved with some neo-Nazi groups to see how they were like. You know, you can't judge people right away. You gotta go in there and get your hands dirty. Well, your paws dirty. You know, I signed up for the little forum online, paid my $25 membership. They wanted me to show that I was faithful to Nazism. So I made some comments on YouTube to show this loyalty based on what people express.
I don't know how that makes it better, but that's what he claimed. But as for the Furry Raiders, you can say you stand for whatever you want, but when your leader is such an openly and purposefully controversial person, and the only thing your group is known for is holding hotel rooms hostage for Rocky Mountain FurCon, people aren't gonna like your little fan club. In any case, it's just a group of people that just like to be edgy and going against public perception by saying, oh, we're not Nazis, we're really deep and cool, we just troll we're into Nazi stuff because that's what you put onto us. But yeah, Diezel is shocked that associating with this kind of group after the views he's expressed has earned him some well-deserved criticism, especially when he said Kiro the Wolf, a person accused of zoophilia and zoosadism, is better that if the accusations were true sooner than letting people have safe sex change operations. Yeah, the boy really said zoophilia is better than being trans. But, you know, like I said, fun times, great guy. But moving on to the last egregious thing he did. Honestly, disregard everything. Because if you only heard this one thing he did, it would be just as bad as the rest, in my opinion. Look, despite this person, the fandom is 100% filled with amazing, lovely people, many of whom raise money for charity or inspire people through their amazing kindness that they bring. Dog Bomb was one of those people. He was unfortunately also diagnosed with ALS, and his last wish was to donate his body to science in a touching eulogy and decided to end his own life via assisted suicide. Now listen, when you hear a man has been fighting an incurable, crippling disease that takes your ability to walk, write, and eventually will stop your heart, giving you a maximum of 3 years to live after you've been diagnosed, most people would honor the last wishes of a man, especially one so absolutely kind and who has brought so much goodness to the fandom. However, Diezel Raccoon, sooner than any well wishes, decided to put his 2 cents in regarding saying you should never end your own life regardless of the disease or physical suffering you are going through. You know, the kind of disease that destroys your muscles, and he believes that you should have left it up to God, despite admitting he had no idea who Dog Bomb even was, and yet still decided to speak on his behalf, you know, like a garbage person. The thing is, when you exist in a fandom that tries to be a safe space for minorities, the LGBT, and tries to offer genuine kindness, these actions and belief really don't go without notice. He was actually banned from Texas Furry Siesta and Fiesta on the 26th of April, and the funny thing is, none of the things I mentioned actually were the reason why. Fact is, he was advocating for the production of fake COVID vaccine cards to get into conventions and claiming people weren't comfortable, citing the rare instance of someone being allergic to the vaccine, which is a very rare occurrence that can happen with literally every vaccine ever. 500,000 people have died, Diezel. The fact that cons are happening, your attendance is not a right, it is a fucking privilege. And this dude really wanted to be like, oh yeah, just get a fake vaccine card. Listen, you're entitled to your wrong and dumb opinion. You're allowed to think whatever you want about a lot of things. But you exist in a fandom that generally supports minority communities, and whether he is gay or not, he still openly disrespected the trans community and all but threatened Black people with gun violence, flying under this banner of patriotism and God-lovingness when it's just a facade for being a hateful and mean person. Keep in mind, his Twitter was 100% private, and the only images I had were the ones I just found floating around Twitter. And he's deleted a lot of profiles because he knows it. Personally, I can't say he's done anything positive for this fandom. I want to reiterate, being conservative or Republican, while it is a minority in this fandom, you still have a right to be here. But people shouldn't be surprised when being a racist, sexist bigot catches you hate. You have a right to free speech, but you also have a right to consequence. And personally, I don't feel safe with this person's main reason for owning guns is to protect himself against Black people specifically. That is a dangerous view to have, and you can say you're joking all you want, but I am not going to risk gun violence in my fandom in the hopes that you are just trying to be edgy. I get that he apologized for like 1/64 of the terrible things he said, but no amount of apology will ever convince me he's changed his views he's carried for years as an adult. But honestly, let me know your thoughts in the comments regarding the situation. Do you think that he's not as bad as people say? Or rather, do you think that he has any redeeming qualities? And if so, what would he have to do to prove to the fandom that he's not just a transphobic, racist, sexist, xenophobic asshole? But as always, thank you to my patrons. You guys are super awesome, and if anyone is interested in being a patron, I actually just posted next week's script, which is open for criticism. It's talking about the nature of toxic positivity in the fandom, parasocial relationships, as well as Beta Eta Delota's latest video on it. It really helps keep me grounded, and I appreciate you guys just for tuning in. And as a last message to Diezel Raccoon, I don't think you're a very nice person. I think you should think on that.
Everybody should be loved and embraced. And it shouldn't matter what you think or different beliefs. It shouldn't matter. At the end of the day, it's an individual, it's a person. But I've made some mistakes in making people feel like they didn't belong, or making them feel defensive about things. And you know what? I own it. It's my fault. So to those of you out there that I have upset in those ways, that I've offended, I am deeply sorry.